And then we'll also be able, in that same time period, to get the numbers from Juan and Karina as, okay, this is the minimum it's gonna take to have us break even as we're operating today. And we will probably have some idea of the lighting improvement number and what we might be able to pull off when it comes to a valet system. And those are gonna have to be entertained, whatever happens. I mean, if we keep going down the road we're going with nothing, it's like when it becomes two ballrooms, we're gonna have to deal with valet at some point and lighting at some point. We know that already.
Right.
Okay.
So,
That's where
All
we
right,
are.
let's go over the recommendations just to make sure we have it clear.
Madam Attorney.
The first recommendation is for a recommendation for William Waters to be directed by City Commission to draft an RFQ.
we already did that one, that's behind us.
Right, I'm just
She's
recapping
up.
all three, so we're all on the same
Question
page.
was 40 minutes ago.
Right, to draft a RFQ scope of work to obtain additional variety of intensity studies. The second recommendation was, I believe, to have a overall beach workshop,
Budgetary beach workshop.
and to put it towards the end of the budget process so that the group you have can sort of do some more fact finding.
I mean, we are toward the end.
Okay.
No, but not let it be, in the next 2 weeks.
No,
Let it
yeah,
Right.
yeah, there's no way. I
A
mean,
beach
Farther
workshop.
down
Maybe
in
in
the
June,
budgetary.
probably June.
A beach workshop perhaps in June,
Yeah.
July timeframe, okay, to address policy issues,
Budgetary policy issue.
budgetary. And then the final recommendation is a recommendation that the city commission proceed with the Anderson Carr recommendation, Anderson Carr reply, and consider moving forward with that in some shape or fashion. Is that,
Based on numbers,
okay?
I gotta look at the numbers.
Based on staff numbers to be provided.
At what a break-even cost would be. And leaving open the 2 or 3 permutations of the lease for our operating agreement,
Okay.
which they have proposed.
And just make sure that it includes, the outside areas, both, the whole thing, the outside, that it's spelled out, kitchen,
Patio areas,
Patios.
ballroom, and restaurant space.
Need a motion, so that was just right down.
it's
Just so everybody can reply verbally that they're good with those 3 recommendations.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay? And they will make that
So,
recommendation as city
since
commission.
we've lost half of our public.
You weren't entertaining
I know, I'm sorry. Do we want to sort of explain what happens next? I mean, we've got one that's going forward in some fashion. I think we pretty much exhausted dead horse with the study,
Right.
but I don't think anyone has a real clear idea of what happens if we actually are formalizing a recommendation with someone going to the commission.
Well, I think what the evaluation committee could direct someone to write out the recommendations in a formal letter to the city commission and add it to the next available agenda,
It'll be a staff report, which will.
a staff report. And at that point, based on what the city commission has already decided, allow them then to set up a workshop, because since we are recommending the Anderson Carr proposal go forward, that would be an issue that the city commission has agreed to workshop, am I correct?
correct.
And so then they would have to set up a workshop based on that, unless, I think that's what they agreed to, so I think that's what,
Yeah, we agreed to workshop any proposals or any recommendations.
so
from
they
this
would,
group.
yeah, they would workshop actually all 3 recommendations, but the Anderson Carr proposal specifically to address what next step they want to take.
Chrissy, from this point on, can the city entertain any other offers for the vacant space?
As long as we still have a viable proposal out there, we don't have a complete ITN process. All we have right now is a recommendation from this committee, and under the ITN process that was laid out, the city commission then has to make a final decision. So right now, technically, the ITN process is still open, Doesn't mean someone couldn't submit a proposal, but we really couldn't consider that proposal while this process is ongoing, as it would be unfair to the Anderson Carr proposal. So we do, at some point, the city commission will have to make a final decision after their workshop on whether to cancel the whole thing or entertain further negotiations and a lease contract, whatever, with the Anderson Carr group.
Now, can you pass a motion at the workshop to do that? Or a regular meeting, it's gotta be regular.
Yeah, it'd be a regular
meeting.
Yeah.
So
So,
they can gather consensus on what everybody feels.
right, so there's gonna be a workshop and then a regular commission meeting where the decision
Correct,
is motion.
and that's the process that we've already established.
Yeah, so until that final decision is made, the process is still open.
Okay.
I know the clerk had a hard time finding open dates for workshops
Yes,
and stuff.
that'll be
This is gonna push out,
Do we, as the committee, have a responsibility to give some kind of direction back to Hudson Holdings such that our goal is to have this study completed and one or two charrettes under our belts and some idea of what the palatability of citizenry and the commission is as to what can happen at the beach in 6 months? I'm sure if I were there, I would be interested in knowing some kind of deadline when what is the next thing that's gonna happen? Because,
Agreed, however, I'm concerned that, this is still just a recommendation. And, the study may not be approved. So,
No, it may
what,
not, yeah.
what do we do?
well, I think
If the
from this,
commission does not-
what we're discussing here is going to be, I think everyone's listening to it and it'll be deciphered to death, but we could at least say that our goal would be to have some kind of resolution of direction in 6 months. So that at least Hudson Holdings knows we're not really going anywhere for 6 months on this. That's what our goal is. If it happens sooner, it's great, they can follow along and listen. If it happens to be more than 6 months, but I would think 6 months would be more than enough time for us to get our ducks in a row. It may not be where we probably have some idea of what is the taste level for what can happen at the beach. And that could be moved on to the commission. Because when we get to that, when we look at what we've gonna get back from our study, it may be at that point that what Hudson Holdings has proposed just can't happen for any number of reasons. Or it could for any number of reasons. But I think that I would hope that we'd be at a point in 6 months is to tell them, heck no, or you still have an option, or this is what has to happen to move it forward the way it is, or can you deal with something, or per our study, only this much can happen, which won't drown the beach and be acceptable also with the community. Can you work with that?
I'm not opposed to it, but if the study doesn't go through in a month, then,
They'll know that.
they'll know that.
we still gotta find the funds to,
Funds for,
funds.
I think that would be one of our biggest problems, identifying funds.
William, and Corinne, correct me if I'm wrong, normally with any kind of selection committee, once the selection committee makes its recommendation to the city commission, they send a letter to all the folks who responded and let them know, here's the recommendation to the city commission. So, as a sort of standard purchasing process, we would be sending letters to all three of the respondents to let them know what the final recommendations are of this committee.
And I have no problem with that having, a 6 month, structure in it that, says, this is where we're looking to proceed, and within 6 months, we should have some kind of structure together, either for or against.
Well, so they can make plans as well because of the other,
Because there's another piece involved, so
Right.
they should
Does
move
that
forward
mean-
anyway.
If that being said, so we can, we're all here together, so we can't talk about this issue when we're not together in a public forum because of sunshine rules. Now that we have recommendations and we have this 6 month process, I'm sure that this study that we're talking about will include myself and probably Juan and maybe somebody from finance. I'm not quite sure who else it would be. We'd have to have a selection committee to evaluate the proposals when they come in for the qualifications. Is it appropriate now to sunset the ITN committee?
And bring it back.
Well, I'm not saying bring it back, but when we have the report back, it's probably gonna be a whole bunch more issues than really we were prepared to deal with. It may be some issues of policy that has to be established by the city commission. That could be, I don't know, but this group can't meet unless it's a formal meeting group in the sunshine now. And I'm thinking that we'd have two groups possibly at the same time, the one for the RFQ for the study, which would be one group of people, and that's in the sunshine as well. And then this group sitting back here, they wouldn't be really doing anything, we couldn't converse with each other, this group becomes the evaluation committee for the RFQ. You see where I'm going?
Well, and I'm thinking, you know,
And you
it
can't serve
probably-
on that committee.
No, and I'm thinking it probably should sunset because especially the two of you will cross over into what you do as part of your job is, you know, the RFQ, so.
Yeah, usually once the evaluation committee makes its recommendation to the city commission, it's sunset.
Okay, all right, cool.
So the answer would be yes, we will be sunsetting after tonight.
It's long and so
And
deaf.
one last thing, just for logistics, who does the evaluation committee want to recommend do the staff report and the letters?
William,
William.
I enjoy working with Christie. Had nothing else better to do.
typeset.
Well, before we close, I just wanna thank each and every one of you for, you know, sitting up here. Some of us volunteer our time, some of us are staff. But, you know, we had said earlier, and it was a great learning experience. And, I think, it was a huge benefit to all of us sitting here because we got better knowledge of exactly what's going on at the beach. So I wanna just take a moment and thank each and every one of you
I
for
like
spending
it.
this time.
Especially you, Sherry, volunteering your time,
Yes, thank you.
we really appreciate it. And to the proposers, I mean, they should be commended. You know, Hudson Holdings for
Jumping through our
coming
hoops.
back, jumping through multiple hoops. You know, it can't be easy, and so, but, you know, I commend them as well for, you know, for
Absolutely.
And thank her, Ruth, too. She's not back yet from vacation, or?
She's back.
She's back, okay.
Yes. Thank you, Howard.
Okay,
meeting adjourned.
meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.